Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast, West Denver. Here's a quick message from our sponsor, Local Works Wheat Ridge, provided by its Executive Director, Paige Piper.
Local Works is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to make Wheat Ridge a more vibrant and sustainable place to live and work. Our mission and action is programming that provides neighborhood revitalization and small business support, keeping and growing the businesses we know and love in Wheat Ridge. In simpler form, we provide connection. Connection to business, connection to community.
This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Meg Smith.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast, West Denver. Today, I'm here with Jenny Lavey and Sarah Bursten of Rise Human Resources. Hi, ladies.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I'm super excited to introduce you to our audience. So tell everyone a little bit about Rise Human Resources.
Yeah, so I would say we always like to say we operate sort of in 4 lanes, if you will. First lane is going to be that HR business partnership to our small and mid-sized business friends who just probably don't need a full-time human resources consultant. They don't have enough work for it. You might have somebody who's splitting like office manager, payroll, HR, and you just really don't have somebody who's an expert in that space. And so we come in and we're an HR partner to those folks kind of on a monthly on-call basis to just support whatever their HR needs are. And then that second lane is going to be leadership coaching. And then the third lane is team building. So we love nothing more than to come in and plan half day, full day, whatever you need events to support communication, trust building, whatever you're working on as a team currently. And then the last lane of business is leadership, training, coaching, mentoring for those first line leaders in particular who've just gone from being a tactical individual contributor to a leader for the first time. And they've never had the support or training that they need to be successful in that role. So those are kind of the 4 lanes that we operate in and that we love to support.
Wonderful. Yeah. And that's so helpful because there's so many of us out there starting small businesses and having a team who don't have that background. And so that's very helpful to have that kind of fractional support, right? Just connecting with all of those important features because you want healthy, happy employees.
Absolutely.
And a strong team.
In a proactive manner too, hopefully not in a reactive manner.
Yes. And so tell us a little bit about how you both got into, HR in the first place and how Rise came about.
Sure. So Sarah and I have, I think combined, we have like 35 years of experience in HR. I started out in HR in recruiting, and I decided that instead of being on the front end where you find people and then place them and then you don't have much involvement after that, I wanted to see full life cycle of the employee experience. And so that led me to become an HR business partner. And I did that for a number of different organizations in different industries, including consumer products and technology and healthcare. And Sarah actually started, she worked as a leader at Starbucks and then went into Children's Hospital, not in an HR capacity, and then decided that she wanted to jump into HR. And a lot of her Starbucks training and, coaching helped her make that, bridge that gap. And so anyway, so she was at Children's Hospital for quite some time. I met her there. We worked together and just we're fast friends and very complimentary of each other. And so when I left Children's and went to my next company, I took her with me. And then we were there for a little while and decided, HR seems to be changing. And we feel like focus on people is not what it used to be. And that's why we got into HR. We wanted to really have a focus on the people and help them grow and develop. And we wanted to help leaders establish a climate and a culture that enabled that, right? And like people want to come to work every day. And so we very strongly believe that you have to have fun at work. Like you're there most of the time, right? So fun, enjoying what you do, wanting to come to work every day. Those are the things that make it worthwhile. And so we wanted to use our HR expertise to help companies do that well.
Excellent. Yeah, and it's a wonderful focus to have that focus on the people
Mm-hmm.
and on their development, not just, handling concerns,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
really
that's not
helping them
police,
grow.
right? Like, I think that so many people see, HR as the police or they're afraid of them, and
Hmm.
that's not how it should be. That's not
Right.
how we believe it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about support.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love it. So, why do folks choose to work with Rise over other fractional HR support?
I think a lot of it is what we just mentioned, as far as like our approach is different, and we see
Mhm.
ourselves as a true partner to the business and a thought partner. So, we might have an executive calling us saying like, I'm not sure how to navigate this. And
Mhm.
it's not our job to judge. It's not our job to, shame. It's our job to say, well, here are the things you need to think about. Here are the potential legal risks.
Mhm.
What outcome are you looking for? Helping them get to that right thing for their business, because it's not one
Mhm.
size fits all, but also in a way that is, ethical, legal, and kind to your people. What would you
Yeah.
add, Sarah?
No, I think it's just that. We don't ever feel like we come in and tell you what to do or how to do it. It's more about how do we give you a lot of options to think about what's best for you and for your people. And then, like Jenny said, navigating the risks of that, but mostly falling back on not just what do you legally have to do, but what's
Yeah.
the right thing to do for your people and for you. And I
Mhm.
really think that focus is different than a lot of what you get in a corporate space or what you might get with other people, because they have an agenda in mind. Like, this is how you should do it. This is the way it must be done. And
Mhm.
I just think there's a lot of different ways to get to the right solution.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So providing those ideas and options. I love it.
Yeah.
So tell us what's happening in HR right now. There's always changes in like legislation or best practices or things like that. Like what's happening lately that business owners should be aware of and potentially get support for?
Sarah, you wanna take this one and I'll chime in?
I think the biggest thing that folks have to realize right now is that employees are more savvy than ever. They have access to more information than they've ever had before, especially as you talk about the kind of the onboarding of AI solutions. And I think those are great things. And you have to know how you're going to navigate that and educate employees and educate your leaders on having the right conversations with the right people at the right time. I just think you can't underscore a lot of employees are going to think that they know best or they have the right answer by Googling something, but there's so much nuance in what's happening in those spaces. And if you're not skilled in having those difficult conversations, it makes everything else so much more difficult. So I don't know, Jenny, what you would add to that?
I mean, I think, in the space of HR, the laws are constantly changing. I think that, Colorado is pretty progressive. You hear about states like California, New Jersey that are very employee friendly states to be in. And so it can make HR and running a business very complicated, because you have to be well versed in the law. And unfortunately, not knowing something just because you haven't learned it yet it's not a defense, right? So you can still get in trouble as a business. I think we also see more personal liability in leaders and business owners than ever before. So it's not just the business who's liable for making a decision that impacts an employee, but it could be a personal liability. So if you are, discriminating or, something to that effect, you can be personally liable for that, which is can be scary, right? So,
Very.
and I think COVID, business shifted significantly, and people are still trying to kind of manage through that and figure it out. So, that's not a law, right? But that's just the reality of where we are and competing
Mhm.
for talent.
Yes. Yeah. The competition for talent is
Mhm.
huge. I've been, in that competition myself, recruiting,
Yeah.
publishers for our neighborhood magazines.
Yeah.
And people have a lot more choices and,
Mhm.
they get to be more scrutinous of, where they're working because we have location freedom a lot of the time. So yeah, a lot of things developed with COVID. And what you mentioned earlier, the Googling of your, employee rights and things like that, it's like Googling for medical things, right?
I was thinking the same thing. It's like doctors
Yeah.
went through this years ago, right? Like,
Mhm.
and you see, like, my doctor had a mug that said, like, your Google search doesn't equal my medical degree,
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
you can only get so far with that. So it can be helpful, but you need that professional that has the skills, the knowledge, and the context, like the background.
Yeah.
We've pretty much seen it all at this point, and we can help you navigate through.
And access to the current legislation in the state or the county or what have you, wherever your business operates, because that's really the key, is making sure someone is operating under what is appropriate where they are. So very good to have resources and experts in those areas, especially if it's affecting, the personal aspect of the business owner and not just the business. That's huge, because if you have liability, as a person versus just a business, then you need to be very educated and aware and have experts to rely upon.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So how do both of you get involved in the community, either through Rise Human Resources or just personally? I love to get to know our, guests a little bit on the personal level, but Rise might be involved in some community things too. So what do you guys do to stay involved? And tell us about your interests.
I think our biggest thing right now is, if you've ever heard of the First Tee program, which is a golfing program for underprivileged youth. And they have programs everywhere, but the chapter we're involved in is in the state of Colorado. And I think what's neat about it is coming from Children's Hospital, I spent 10 years there. There's a passion around pediatrics and kids. And I think, Jenny, the same way that you're doing teaching and things, I don't know, there's a strong passion around supporting and building folks up and giving them the scaffolding that they need when they're young to be successful when they're older in the business. And so First Tee comes alongside kids and gives them a way to interact with adults and learn skills like perseverance and professionalism and how you talk to one another on the golf course through activity and through movement, along with giving them scholarships into education and things like that. So I think that's the biggest thing that Rise HR is involved in.
Yeah. Excellent. And I think both of us are Colorado natives, which is pretty rare these days. And we are both active and we love sports, and we do believe in, you can build so much confidence through activity and through sports and through, having, working with other people in a team type setting. And so it's kind of near and dear to our hearts. And we do a lot of, networking with different groups that are local to Colorado. And so that's where, I get a ton of joy from that. So I love just connecting with people. So we do a lot of that as well.
Excellent. Well, we're lucky to have you in those endeavors. So the First Tee program, that might be a great organization to connect with, because we do a lot of nonprofit media. So afterward, we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
So how should folks get in touch with you if they want to, learn more about your services or connect about First Tee or any of the above?
Sure. Well, we have a website, so it's risehumanresources.com. You can also find us on LinkedIn. We are active on Instagram. And what is it, Sarah? It's Rise Human Resources.
Rise_Human Resources. Yeah, okay. On Facebook.
Yeah. Excellent. So you can find us there as well. We, like I said, we love to connect with people in the community. And even if you just want to meet up with us and chat, we're all in.
Excellent. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for the work that you're doing and for supporting small business and keeping everybody, safe and supported. I appreciate your time today, and I'm excited to share you with the community.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate the work that you're doing to spread the word and to connect these neighborhoods. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpwestdenver.com. That's gnpwestdenver.com or call 720-295-9588.